Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Well, the season is kicking. People are just enjoying themselves, and I see people traveling into the country from abroad. Dirty December, they call it, and so many activities, so many shows here and there, and all that. But we should always remember that in the midst of all the celebrations and the fun and all that, there's quite a number of people that's having a hard time, difficult period for them, whether it's financial or health or all sorts of challenges. The world can be a strange place at times, pros and cons, positives, negatives, good experiences, bad experiences. The cycle just goes on. But in all things, we should be grateful. We should really be grateful in all things. And if you're out there, you are winding down, trying to catch your fun, trying to enjoy the last days of the year as we go into a new year, well, make sure that you do that moderately. Catch your fun, but do it moderately. And remember, the spirit of the season is that of giving and sharing and loving. Well, let's take you down memory lane, 2025 memory lane. What a year it has been for us on this show. We've had so many interesting experiences, interesting guests, explored new books, month after month. There's a new book out there. We've tried our best to explore as many as possible. What a year it has been for us, for our team on this show. Underline that word team. Those of us who sit in front of the cameras, we are the ones that you see, but behind the cameras are the people that actually make things happen. And that is such a powerful lesson you learn in our business, the television business. The real heroes are behind the cameras, and they've done so great on the show this year. Kudos to the team. What an experience we've had in 2025. Let's take you down that memory lane. Enjoy this.
I've listened to people over the years. I've listened to so many people, sometimes as a compere, sometimes as an MC, sometimes as a member of the audience. And I've listened to people struggle. Some people don't even know they're struggling, but I can tell by the way they are presenting their speeches that they are struggling. I've also trained a lot of people, and so in the course of that training, I realized that there are a lot of people who are adversely affected by the thought of speaking in public. And yet, if you can conquer that fear, yes, some people might even say a phobia. If you can conquer it, then honestly, it's plain sailing all the way. So I just thought that I should harness my experiences, do some research, and put something together that helps those who are novices, those who are terrified, help them to demystify the idea of speaking to an audience. And for those who are used to doing it, give them perhaps some new ideas, a few tips about how they can improve upon their presentation.
It's a story that I believe will inspire young journalists. It's a story I believe that even managers, will be circumspect in the way they relate, with their subordinates. Because I believe very strongly that most of those who treated me badly then, if they knew a day like this would come, they probably would have treated me better.
Parts of the colonial project was to render us fatherless in the sense of removing those leaders that we had that sustained all our nations before the colonialists came in. That now begged the question, who rendered us fatherless? Those who rendered us fatherless are the culprits. So I wanted to introduce I won't use the word criminals. Culprits is a softer word. The culprits, those who were behind the deed by which we were decapitated? We were decapitated. And so the essence of this book is to get Nigerians to understand who the actors were, take the mask off, because the facade that was created, we have this culture of blaming ourselves, that it was the Fulani who did this, it was the Igbos who did this, it was the Yoruba who sold out. I'm taking the mask off so that we can get away from that narrative where we're holding each other by the throat and pointing fingers at each other to help to remove the screen. That's why the cover design has got that black background, almost a theater stage. And then you've got the masks, so you're seeing the black faces, and then the mask is opened up. It is an unveiling. And I'm introducing those who made Nigeria and who made Nigerians, and introducing them to those who they made, i.e. our people. What I'm trying to do through these writings is to call forth our best minds of all our ethnic groups. Stop fighting each other and blaming each other. Bring your best minds forwards. Let's sit down and let's, on the back of what we now know, strategize on the best way of repairing the damage that has been done.
Let's introduce Pepper Soup Chronicles. What's the story in Pepper Soup Chronicles?
Well, it starts with a bit of a bang, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, an explosion in the Nigerian airport.
There is a major terrorist attack on a major Nigerian airport, rather unusually perpetrated by a rogue member of the security services. And that has all manner of kind of knock-on effects. Because this is right at the heart of the nation's capital. This was the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, and you don't get any closer to home than that. And of course, those sorts of things will trigger an automatic involvement by the intelligence and security agencies, which are now, almost all actually headed by our friends from Best Served Cold, who have kind of gone up in the world. So one is now the National Security Advisor to the President. Another is the Chief of Staff to the National Security Advisor. One is the acting head of the EFCC. And Mike, our main protagonist, is the head of an organization nobody has ever heard of.
RDU. I was wondering where that one come from. Okay.
I made it up.
Of course.
It's a book for all ages, starting from middle school all the way to tertiary level. I will encourage people to read the book because people begin to take bad choices right from when they start middle school, when they begin to see the influence of peers around them, and they begin to take things around them, around the community, and so on and so forth. We all need to be able to read a book like this. It tells you that the wrong choices can impact your life. Picking the wrong friends can impact your life. Friends can make, in the book I wrote it there that friends can make and destroy you.
My three youngest were going through a Disney phase, watching all things Disney on TV. And when kids like a show, they're watching it on repeat over and over again. So they were watching these Disney princess shows. And I remember sitting there that day, watching them watch the TV. And I was literally in my mind going through the list of Disney princesses. And I realized Disney doesn't have an African princess. And I think Africa might be the only continent that doesn't have representation as far as Disney princesses go. So I thought to myself, someone should do something about that, right? And then I realized, this is probably a good topic for me to write a book about.
My name is Magnus Ekpiken. I'm an accountant. Yeah, but I have a couple of very crazy hobbies, like some people tell me. So I like walking. In fact, most people at work call me Johnny Walker because I'm always walking. I've recently taken up hiking So I've gone to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Another hobby that I've had since I was a child is reading. I love books. I've always read for as long as I can remember. So a third hobby, and then I'm not sure which is more important, but I play chess. So the way most men take soccer, that's the way I take chess. Chess is my life.
But it's not just working for Magnus. The chartered accountant loves reading, and he talks about the kinds of books that hold him.
I read everything. I read fiction. I don't know if I mentioned, I've actually written a book, actually published a book. I did that a long time ago, a book of short stories. But if I were to pick the kind of book I really like, I'm sure you would guess the books on adventure, books on historical novels, novels with a historical perspective. For instance, I'm reading Men of Men now. That's a book by one of my favorite authors, Wilbur Smith. Wilbur Smith writes about Africa. He writes about, he really researches ancient African traditions. And I really love to read him. So that's the kind of book I like to read.
You have a situation where, the concept of personal security doesn't exist in Nigeria in terms of people's livelihood, people's, Maslow's law, hierarchy rather, of needs. People are in dire straits, so to speak. So what do? They look for ways to survive. And those ways breed insecurity. It makes them more susceptible to insecurity, to being recruited for insecurity. So governments abandoning all, all successive governments, abandoning all that and think fighting Boko Haram on the battlefield is the solution. In some of the, I remember in those days in the northwest, northeast rather, Boko Haram was the only effective government in some of these local areas. There's an absence of Nigerian government in these areas. If you go to Borno State, some of these local governments were created in the 80s and 70s and 80s. It's like nothing has changed. No motorable roads. Everything's still there. So you have a situation where rather than saying let's keep fighting. So government say, well, we've killed 50 Boko Haram suspects today, but 500 were recruited tomorrow. So the war becomes a non-ending, spool. You're just going around in circles. So that's when I realized, hold on a second, non-kinetic interventions look at the root causes of insecurity rather than just being reactive. Once there's, and it speaks to the general security posture of Nigeria. We are generally reactive people rather than being proactive.
People think that Boko Haram, that government is behind it.
The government is behind Boko Haram.
Even I didn't write that. People think the government is behind it.
Yeah, some of us thought so.
Because
embarrassingly, I mean, I'm joking, but it's a very common, common thing out there.
But for me, I don't blame them. Why? Because if the problem has stayed with you for so long, all right, and you also have a government, then it stands to reason that government, those are things.
So that's a misconception.
It's a misconception.
The government is not.
No. It can't be behind it. But then there are problems of bad governance that Boko Haram has taken advantage of. War is bad. War is terrible. We must do everything possible to ensure that never again should we get into such conflicts. Boko Haram must end. Every form of violence and insecurity in our country must end.
It's the 24th edition of the Nigeria International Book Fair. The theme for this year's edition is Local Paper Production, Panacea to Affordable Book Production and Qualitative Education.
With this exhibition now, it's like bringing up awareness that there's a local production of bond paper in Nigeria.
So we are saying to government, we have what it takes to produce the raw materials locally and then produce paper locally.
For over 2 decades, the Nigeria International Book Fair has remained a cornerstone of literacy advocacy, fostering knowledge exchange and promoting a thriving book culture, both locally and internationally.
Children, parents, teachers and guardians are gathered for the 7th edition of the Akada Children's Book Festival in Lagos.
Akada Book Festival is basically just a place where you can read books, like experience different books and what they learn and what you can learn. You can do different activities, go to book talks. There are even some painting and art and craft over here. It's basically just a place where you can read, have fun and chill.
I'm very excited for this event, how all of the children come together to read books, buy books and tournaments. And it's very fun and good pack, and there's lots of games and activities to do.
My experience at the Akada Children's Book Festival has shaped my view on the reading culture. That's shown the efforts of Mrs. Olubumi Abodari-Talabi to catch children young and encourage them to read books.
The Lagos Book and Arts Festival, LABAF, returns for its 27th edition, bringing together writers, artists, students, and lovers of literature and culture. Organized annually by the Committee for Relevant Arts, KORA, the week-long festival provides a platform to discuss literary works and contemporary issues, celebrate authors, media professionals, and cultural icons, and also hosts the popular Green Festival, which welcomes children to engage with books and the arts. The festival upholds its tradition of dedicating each edition to an individual. For 2025, Kayode Aderinokun, chair of the KORA trustees, is being celebrated in honor of his 75th birthday. His book, Inferno in the Rain, revised edition, is being relaunched 3 decades after its initial publication. Another major highlight is the 20th anniversary of the Green Festival, a platform that has inspired and nurtured young readers for 2 decades.
Children and the environment, that's what Kate is about. And it's such an important advocacy.
When you invest in the future, it's a worthwhile endeavor. And so that is what Green Festival has been doing.
I love how they embrace culture here and how they celebrate all the kids there. And it's an exciting and thrilling one.
We need to keep reminding children of their importance because they are undoubtedly the future of this country.
The whole idea is to educate young people about environmental issues using the creative arts.
The former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, gathers dignitaries for the launch of his 2 new books, Leading in a Storm and Beneath the Surface. Leading in a Storm serves as a practical leadership guide for executives, policymakers, and entrepreneurs and community leaders navigating uncertainty, while Beneath the Surface presents thought-provoking essays on Nigeria's economy and development.
Leaders in this part of the world must build up their crisis leadership competencies. It is important. And connected to that is the second book, Beneath the Surface, which is a collection of incisive essays that speaks to different policy issues. For me, the ultimate objective of the book is to see a different kind of outcome with our leadership interventions in the country and in the continent of Africa. It can be accomplished. All we need is a different mindset. And I believe that we have enormous potentials as a continent and we have smart people. The challenge all along has been leadership to an extent. A different kind of leadership will produce a different kind of result.
Let's go into dream counts now, and the theme for this. I know you said you always wanted to write about women next. That's fine. But the theme that came together was by surprise. Love, or sometimes the lack of it even in the book, and just vulnerability, like you said, emotions. Why that? Like you said, you had done other things. Yes, Americana had some love and romance in it, but this felt completely about, relationships, love, emotions, and all of that. Why did you decide to go there?
I don't know. That's how the book came to me. And I have to tell you, Buka, that one of the things for me, at least, about writing fiction is I have to make up answers to a lot of the questions. There's a journalist outside who kept saying to me, tell us more about the theme. And, elaborate on the theme. I thought, this kind of literature class approach to novels is not really something that creatives want to do. I think which is why I think there's a difference between being a creative and being a critic. I don't always have the answers. I don't always have the whys. There's an almost spiritual aspect to writing fiction, at least for me. So there are things in the novel that surprised me. So I kind of thought the novel would go in a certain direction. It didn't. Did I plan to have it be so deeply about emotion and love? And I'm not even sure. I just, your characters speak to you, you're in there, you're writing, you forget time. It's almost magical. When you look up, you don't realize how much time has passed. I mean, this is the thing. This is why fiction is the love of my life.
Tonight is a celebration of creativity, innovation, partnership, and the future we are building and shaping together.
For the 2025 Nigeria Prize for Literature, from 252 entries received in February, only 3 are left to compete for the winner's title.
The panel of judges and the advisory board have found Oyi Olubile's Sonya as astounding, the worthy
Congratulations, Oyi, on the age of 2025.
What a year it has been. We are not done taking you down that memory lane. Certainly not done. But this is where we have to close the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.